Hey guys, Joe here from My Life in Collecting, and this time we're going to take a look at a special figure of mine. I had purchased an eHobby Megs from my dealer friend back at one of the shows that I visited at a great price, and while I was there I noticed he had a special 16 figure. I didn't think of it much at the time because I was already spending some money on other TFs, and there comes a point when you pretty much have to close the bank. But my other friend decided to grab it for himself. And not that it's one of those cases of, well, now he has it, so I want it. It was more of a point of that he made it that there will never be any more releases of Megatron in gun mode. So why not grab all the variations that we can? So this week, we're going to take a look at my Special 16 Megatron. Okay, so starting off, we're going to take a look at the front of the box. And the best way that I can describe it is it's just goddamn sexy. It's a fantastic overall presentation combining both artwork and the actual toy. This number 16 refers to the Japanese ID number given to its original release back in 1984. And photographic pictures of Megatron in various modes of posability, alongside with artist rendition of sexy Megs thrusting out his crotch piece right into our faces, just daring us to touch it with the threat of being blasted with his massive fusion cannon is fantastic. Just as a note, per the Marvel Comics, Meg's cannon is actually powered by some sort of nuclear fusion reaction. Sometimes he's even able to link it up extra dimensionally to a black hole to augment his power, increasing it exponentially. Overall, that combined with what you see right here is one of the best, I think, front box artwork figure displays for Transformers. Moving along to the back of the box, this is certainly one of the few iconic art images that has stuck with me throughout all of the years. The original 1984 painting by David Schleinhofer shows that the Transformers are battling deep in space. You know, as a kid, I just remember staring at this picture for hours and wanting every single character shown in it. The Transformers box art most commonly is used to portray toys in the mode that they don't come packaged in, as most Transformers are sold in their non-robot form, usually done to save so on packaging space. Moving on to the side of the box, this side actually still has the original packaging tape. It's been cut on the other side, so I carefully had removed it, but you can see the flap crease here is virtually non-existent, nice and straight with artworks of Meg in his toy mode. And you can see there is the packaging tape right there. Normally I don't like to I don't like removing it. This figure obviously came opened, which is why it's one of the few pieces that I'm actually showing to you guys. Okay, moving over to the other side that's actually opened, you can see pretty much the same images. The tape would have been right here, but obviously I carefully removed it. This side here does show something a little bit different. This is actually where you would find the robot points. Now, the amount of the TF points was normally reflective on the size or the expense of the toy. Most Transformers in 1985 to the end of the G1 line included small flyers, which were basically advertising for exclusive merchandise that you could mail away for with the robot points. Now, this reissue of the original Megatron figure combines the best aspects of the Hasbro and Takara versions into the most complete version of Megatron available at that point. This set features such things as chrome chest and arms and red plastic of the Hasbro release, and includes a silencer, stock, and sight cannon, while also coming with Takara's sword and functional bullet firing mechanism. Okay, so starting off, let's take a look at, this is Megatron's little stat card. Little things like this, as I've always said in other videos, I find very important. It's just the little things that add up to make the entire packaging such a special feature. So this is it, Megatron's little playing card here. But you'll notice when we flip it over to the back side, it actually has his stats and bio, which was not shown on the back of the Encore packaging when I showed you the back of the box. So again, that just gives a brief character description of Megatron. I think if you're familiar with the G1 packaging, you could probably get a sense of what it would say, and obviously Megatron's stats. I think the weakest one being 4 is probably his speed. But all in all, just a nice little feature that they added to the set and packaging, and I'm really glad that they did include it. So next, one of the items that they've also included here is the sticker sheet. I will not be putting these on. I prefer not to put stickers on any of my open figures. I find that they can sometimes take away from the figure, and so usually for me it's a case of less is more. This sticker sheet actually has 32 stickers on it, since the repeat stickers and the instructions are labeled as 1. Megs has only one pre-applied sticker on him, and that would be, obviously, his Decepticon rub sign. Next, as always, we have his instructions. This comes to us on a rather, I'd say, decent piece of paper. The cardstock is fairly good quality. Everything is only on the one side. I'm not going to completely open it up because I don't think I've ever even done that, but you can show, obviously it shows every single piece of formation or manipulation that it takes to put Megatron in his various modes, either that being gun mode with his cannon in front of him, or mounted, or attached to his back, or as well as gun mode. And you can see there from the date that it said Takara Co. 1983, which was the release of the original Megatron there. Megatron in his various modes through transformation. It shows you on the right there. As I mentioned previously, that this does have the bullet firing mechanism in it. So obviously spring loaded and whatnot, so you can fire individual bullets, either loaded into Megatron's gun barrel itself or into his standalone cannon, which he uses in robot mode. And as you can see right here, this is the aforementioned pre-applied sticker, obviously the Decepticon rub sign. And if you open it up, you can see clearly there's nothing on the other side. So everything that you need is pretty much right here. Very detailed instruction sheet, and it's certainly something that's nicely and welcomed to be included with this package. Getting to the meats of the package here, now we can see everything that is included figure-wise. It comes obviously not with styrofoam, but rather in a clear plastic shell that is stuck into just pretty much a Bristol board sort of style packaging for it. You can see obviously everything's super nice and shiny. I think I've only taken this figure out of the packaging once before, and that was with the previous video that I had done, which has since been deleted. But you can see everything that's included in there. And now with everything out of the clear clamshell, everything except for two things. As I mentioned before, this set's only been removed once, and the sword there and Megatron's mini handgun, these guys are stuck in there really tight, and I didn't want to play with them. I don't even like really touching anything that's chrome. I just don't like leaving the fingerprints and what the residue that can sort of, the oils that can come off your fingers and stay with the chrome, which eventually would cause it to tarnish. But you can see here's Megatron. He still has a great shine on him. Like I said, this may be the second time that I've handled him at all. And he does have good weight to him. For those of you not really familiar with G1 Megatron, very, very solid piece of toy. You can see the top part there. That's where you can insert the bullets. And the firing mechanism does have a good clicking sound. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear that here, but it does fire the bullets very well. There's the Decepticon rub sign. And here are his bullets still on the sprue. These guys will not be coming off, but I can assure you that they do fire quite nicely. The next piece we're looking at, this is actually the front of Megatron's gun, which would attach to the stock barrel, or sorry, the barrel of the actual pistol itself. You can see here it's got parts that do fold down. This is all used for later attachments in terms of Megatron's fusion cannon, whether or not how you want it placed, either in front or to the back of him, which I will show later on in the video. But this is one of the things that made Megatron, I think, such a fun toy for kids. All these accessories. Obviously here is his arm-mounted fusion cannon that can also be combined with the other attachments to form a particle beam cannon. The Megatron can either man or use as a telescopic laser cannon, as I mentioned previously, that connects to the figure as an over-the-shoulder weapons array. These pieces can also combine to form a turret that a Microman figure can sit on and operate, but this was naturally left out of this version of the Transformers instructions. This is the mount that goes onto the back of the gun that would rest against your shoulder in terms of using him as like a sniper kind of weapon, and it folds out. This is used where it would allow more stability when it becomes the turret for the gun. And also in there you can load bullets, which we'll show later. And this piece actually here does have a firing mechanism as well, which is that trigger right there. You can see it move and click quite nicely. And now we're going to take a look at Megatron in robot mode. I've done this ahead of time. One, just to save time, and two, I just wanted to be really careful. I don't like forcing transformations with any of my figures, so I just wanted to be sure that it was sort of done and not used up a lot of camera time, I guess. But you can see, those of you familiar with Megatron, he's not the most, what's the word I'm looking here, aesthetically pleasing figure. He's actually, to be honest with you, a rather loose figure. Like, he's pretty floppy if you're not gentle with him in terms of like his arms or head would fall back off where they are right now, which is rather unfortunate. But he's still pretty impressive, especially I think for the amount of engineering that it took to get him into, a fairly accurate Walther PVK gun into, a sort of playable figure. I've assembled his cannon here in front of him. You can see that he's got at the end of it there hand pieces, sort of like right there, handle sticking out where he's meant to sort of hold on to it. And you can load the bullet in there and then just pull back on the trigger and use it as a turret style weapon for him to fire on his enemies. Like I said before, it's just features like this. There's a lot of playability with Megatron in various forms, so it's nice, I think, for kids to be able to have this option of using this toy with a lot more imagination than you normally would with other ones. Okay, back to gun mode. This is how he would look with all his gun attachments attached to him, albeit one, the scope on the top of the gun. I'll be honest, it was unattachable just due to the fact that I don't know if it's such like it's never been used, and I didn't want to force it, but I couldn't get the scope to clip onto the top part of the gun right there. It was just too tight. I didn't want to force it or wreck this piece or cause any sort of plastic stress. But you can see how it was meant to be held. It's got the shoulder piece, and just pretend you're looking down the scope. It's got the big silencer at the end with the scope edition on it. So really, you could picture yourself as a kid running down the street back in 1984, 1985, running around shooting bullets out of this toy gun against your friends, and hopefully a cop wouldn't see you and think you're holding a real gun. But going back to what I mentioned at the start of this record, certainly a piece that I wish I had initially bought when I first saw it, instead of hindsight being 2020. G1 Megatrons nowadays, especially if you try to get them boxed and complete, can be fairly expensive. I think this is more than adequate for those of you not able to afford a mint G1 Megs. This is certainly a nice addition to have. And even if you have a Megatron, this one being a tribute to the Japanese original one is certainly worth having, just for everything, all the facets, the artwork, the packaging, the whole detail of it. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Again, I'm really trying to grow the channel, so please remember, like, comment, subscribe, and share to your friends. I really appreciate it. It's nice for us to get the community growing. I've made a lot of great friends out there, so I hope you guys really enjoy this video. And remember, you can follow me on Twitter at ACDecepticon. You can check out the blog site angrycanadiandecepticon.blogspot.ca. And as well, you can listen to our weekly podcast, M&I from Transformers and Video Games YouTube channel. We do a weekly show every Friday. You can find that on iTunes under the name Transformers and Beer Podcast. Keep on collecting, guys, and we'll see you again real soon.